alternative education, I think first I was thinking like how to define alternative education, even though I'm using the term, but it has been done this morning already by Perry. Traditional, non-traditional, formal, non-formal. For me, basically, it's everything that is not traditional, which actually already becoming the new traditional. Some literature is calling that, because where do you find like real traditional classic education, theological education? Maybe I'm not too familiar with the Balkans, but I assume that there are really not many places with real classic traditional education. Usually it's lay people training, it's on off-campus, it's distance education, some kind of, maybe even online education. Students are changing. We heard about that yesterday from Bernard. Students have different characteristics, so education needs to change, adapt, include, so that we don't miss these learners. And the same is true for the library. So I'm kind of speaking from a library point of view, which is even more difficult. Yeah, faculty is resisting. They have their way of doing education, so they don't want to change too much. Library has the calling to preserve the tradition. How can you expect a century-old institution now suddenly become innovative, change and adapt so quickly? There is a lot of resistance, you may feel that. And I don't know how libraries look in Bible schools and training centers here in the Balkans, whether there are libraries at all, a collection of books maybe, a collection of resources, how they are organized and how they are perceiving their new calling. So I'll try to kind of present a few ideas, but then certainly also call for a change of attitude, change of kind of awareness of what is going on, and then a change of attitude. And for this, I purposefully put this maybe unrealistic or false dichotomy, that maybe the calling of a theological institution is not first resourcing libraries. So here we have a Bible school, and now we will create a real traditional library. The call is to resource learning, foster, empower, enable that students would learn. Not set up a library, but kind of find resources for students to develop. Why? Because I think, even like Marvin just said it, it starts with the words. And the words for library is usually connected with books. Knižnica, knihovna, konjunktar, library, biblioteka, it's all book. And often we think that right away it's a printed book. It's a physical. It needs to be seen, it needs to be counted, it needs to be, checked in, checked out, and so on. That's a real library. Question, is it really the only solution? Is that the best solution for alternative education? I'm not in no way one to argue that the book will die, that we're moving to a paperless society. No way. All the indications are to the opposite. But a change of attitude, the awareness of different methods definitely needs to come. We are about resourcing, learning, not really about establishing traditional libraries. For that, I think mission vision for alternative education the library needs to change its mission and vision, and here again librarians will not do it by themselves because they are only a supporting instrument. It needs to come from the leadership. Librarians usually are more or less powerless people. They do what they're told, and they are limited in their budgets, and if there is a librarian at all at the Bible school, often it's somebody doing it on the side, beside other things. So it needs to come from the leadership. A new vision for how to resource learning in alternative education, and then how to organize it, the practical things. I think we need a different view of library. Maybe we need to rename it to a resource center, to learning center. Maybe we shouldn't rename the librarian for a coordinator of learning, research, resources, something like that, to make people think, maybe even devise some term that is really strange, so that people ask, oh, so what is this person doing? Okay, this is what we're doing. This is what we're finding resources explicitly for the new kind of students and for the new kind of education that we want to offer. Librarians, or this resource person, I think, needs to be able to speak with students on eye level, speak with faculty on eye level, which means subject knowledge, which means theological education, knowing what is being taught in classes. Librarian needs to know the information technology. Often librarians are not at the very front lines with theological subjects, sometimes not even with technology, but I think in the alternative education there's just no way around it. It needs to be a person who speaks 4 languages, so to say, librarian language, faculty language, student language, and technology language. So when you choose your person for that task, I think all of that needs to be considered in a sense. Libraries are usually about resources and about services. Am I ready? Yes. Okay. So, resources, I'll not spend much time on that. Probably electronic, probably online accessible, curriculum specific, but online accessible, which can be purchased, found, organized, which need to be created, because what you buy is usually English, and it needs to be in national languages, which is then, to the school to find and in legal ways provide access to. Cooperation is a big thing for libraries. Services, just a little list, of standard services that students in alternative education need. Access to resources, but then it means often that you send them, that you deliver the resources for the students either on a platform or email or some other kind of sharing. Partnering with the libraries where the student lives. Usually they come only for a week to a session, so they need local resources. Communication. Yesterday, Bernard said the person of the teacher, the presence of the person of the teacher, same in servicing resources. Communication at the time when students have time to talk. We didn't have to teach people to read, but we need to teach people to work with technology. And then again, who is going to do that? Hopefully, the librarian, the resource person. And then if there are learning platforms, again, the library must be there, because that's what students see. That's what their campus is, this platform. So without library presence, it's kind of not complete. And and then there are some ideas for the online platform, but that's for next
session.